Boris Johnson hails Britain's beacon of hope and Brexit triumph in New Year's Eve speech. Boris Johnson issued a triumphant rallying call to Britons during his New Year's Eve speech as he paid tribute to those that have set the UK on a road to success for 2021. In his speech to mark the end of 2020, the Prime Minister praised the nation's resilience in the face of the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic. Mr. Johnson also labelled the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine a beacon of hope as it is set to be rolled out across the UK next week. And he hailed the freedom the country now has as the post-Brexit transition period with the European Union comes to an end. Mr. Johnson said, "Well folks, we are coming to the end of 2020. The year in which the government was forced to tell people how to live their lives, how long to wash their hands, how many households could meet together. And the year in which we lost too many loved ones before their time. So I can imagine that there will be plenty of people who will be only too happy to say goodbye to the grimness of 2020. But just before we do, I want to remind you that this was also the year when we rediscovered a spirit of togetherness, of community." The Prime Minister also praised the efforts of key workers during the pandemic and scientists that worked on the Oxford coronavirus vaccine. He continued, "It was a year in which we banged saucepans to celebrate the courage and self-sacrifice of our NHS staff and care home workers. A year in which working people pulled the stops out to keep the country moving in the biggest crisis we have faced for generations, shop workers, transport staff, pharmacists, emergency services, everyone, you name it. We saw a renewed spirit of volunteering, as people delivered food to the elderly and vulnerable. And time after time as it became necessary to fight new waves of the virus, we saw people unite in their determination, our determination, to protect the NHS and to save lives. Putting their lives, your lives, on hold. Buying precious time for medicine to provide the answers, and it has." Mr. Johnson added, "In 2020 we have seen British scientists not only produce the world's first effective treatment of the disease, but just in the last few days a beacon of hope has been lit in the laboratories of Oxford. A new room temperature vaccine that can be produced cheaply and at scale, and that offers literally a new lease of life to people in this country and around the world. And with every jab that goes into the arm of every elderly or vulnerable person, we are changing the odds, in favor of humanity and against COVID. And we know that we have a hard struggle still ahead of us for weeks and months, because we face a new variant of the disease that requires a new vigilance. But as the sun rises tomorrow on 2021 we have the certainty of those vaccines. Pioneered in a UK that is also free to do things differently, and if necessary better, than our friends in the EU.